Our second presentation is an online presentation, and it's pre-recorded because of audiovisual issues, but it's from Lyu Fang, who's the Chinese IEA PVPS representative, and she's also involved in task 12 of the PVPS, which is about PV recycling. She is a senior engineer in the Institute of Electrical Engineering in the Chinese Academy of Sciences in her day job, and a lot of us have met her in our involvement with the PVPS tasks. She's going to talk about end of life of PV and recycling status and trends in China. Thank you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Lyu Fang from China, electrical engineering student at Chinese Academy of Science. And sorry, I could not be on site to communication with you face to face. And we look forward to see you in the physical way and instead of the virtual way. Today, I have a chance to share some information about the China PV end of life and the recycling status and the trends in China. So today, I will give you the information from the 4 parts. The first part is from last year to this year, 2020 to 21, China PV market status and the trends. And number 2 part, I will introduce about China end of life and the recycling forecasting. And the third part, let's see the China PV recycling R&D. And the fourth one's to see the China green manufacture system and the conclusion. So first, let's see the market, domestic market from last year, 2020. In 2020, the PV new capacity reached about the 48.2 gigawatts. The accumulated installed capacity reached about the 253 gigawatts. And the distributed new installed capacity reached 15.1 gigawatts. Among them, residential reached about 10.1 gigawatts, which exceeded the total of the before 4 years. The PV power generation has increased from 3.1% to 3.5% of the total power generation. Let's see about the PV market of these years. And this data just published by the China PV Association yesterday. So in these years, the PV new capacity have reached about 29.3 gigawatts from January to October. And the centralized account for 35.1%. And distributed new capacity reached about 19 gigawatts in the past 10 months, accounted about 64.9%. And this year, it's the first year of the grid parity. So only residential can get the 0.08 yuan per kilowatt hour subsidy. So this year, the residential is the #1 market share, reached about the 13.6 gigawatts, account 51.5% in total. And also it exceeding the total of the past 4 years. The PV power generation has increased to 4% of the total power generation. Next is to see about the China future, about the recent, about the Middleton forecasting about market trends. The estimated installed capacity is reduced from 55 to 65 gigawatts to 45 to 55 gigawatts because of the rising price of these years. And the China PV Association give the number that Next year, the new installed capacity will reach about 75 gigawatts, only about because of this year we got some reserved installed capacity. So that means this year is a small year about the domestic market, and the next year it will be the big increase. The IEA also give the estimated number that the annual increase to installed capacity will be 220 gigawatts from the 2030 to 2060. Then we go to the second part, talking about the end of life forecasting. The IEA PVPS data shows that the global end of the life PV module will reach 80 million tons by 2050. And the top 5 countries will be first China, then United States, Japan, Germany, and India. Let's see the China. If we use the earlier loss scenario, the end of life PV module also will be reached 1.5 million tons before 2030, and 7 million tons before 2040, and 20 million tons by 2050. And this data still not consider about the rebuild market. It will bring the recycling peak earlier as shown. And we talked about 3 parts. The third part is the PV recycling R&D standard in China. The Ministry of Science and Technology launched the National R&D project, Crystalline Silicon PV Module Recycling Technology and Equipment R&D from 2019 to 2022. I'm a project leader with 16 organizations, including 13 companies and 3 universities. And it has 4 parts. The first one established the mechanism master demonstration line with the capacity more than 10 megawatts per year. And second is the chemical master demonstration with a capacity more than 10 megawatts per year. And third one, we will find the environmental friendly treatment of the about fluorine backsheet materials. And the fourth one, it's a full support system, include LCA methodology, standards, policy recommendation, and the roadmap research. So first, let's see the mechanical method. The team created the main facility, included the hot knife, grinding, and separating equipments. So the first, we should remove the junction box and the frame. Second, the hot knife recovered full class and the solo cell lamination film. And third, stepped into the crushing, grinding, and separating processes. In the separating processes, the air separator and the electrostatic separator will classify cell powder, bronzing strips powder, and the plastic powder. The mechanical method is suitable for on-site recovering for the end-of-life PV silicon module because it makes no waste, liquid, and emission. The demo line shows the treatment rate is less than 3 minutes per pieces, and the quality recovery has exceeded 93%. The energy consumption is less 25 kilowatt hour per kilowatt, and the silver recovery rate is more than 93%, silicon 96%, and the copper 97%. So next we see about the thermochemical method. This approach encounters 2 process stages. The first stage is to enable all major module parts separation through chemical treatment and thermal reactions. These stages include several inline semi-mass production processes, frame, junction box, and backsheet removal, and the encapsulation, material delamination, the treatment rate is less than 6 million per pieces. The energy consumption is less 27 kilowatt hour per kilowatt. During the second stage, the solar cells are treated in the batch of the chemical tool. It should control the solution density, temperature, and time. The quality recovery is more than 92%, and the let's see, the silver is more than 95%, silicon 96%, and copper 98%. And number three, it's very important because we need to find the environmental friendly treatment way for the fluorine backsheet waste. And this is not only the problem for China, but also for the global. The fluorine backsheet from the end-of-life PV modules have been classified as a type of the hazardous solid waste in China, which cannot be deposed via incineration and landfill process. To depose this hazard waste in the green way, the team have been working about two approaches. The first one is the physical approach. Is designed for the waste with less loss of the performance. The technology include reformulation of the fluorine backsheet with a stabilizer and reinforcement under the twin screw compounding process. For those with several loss of the overall material performance, the fluorine PET backsheet waste have been aged or oxidized. So we have developed another way, the chemical recycling approaches with the major about two steps. The first one is further depolymerization and sterilization with the catalysts and then filtration. So this is the first one step. The second step is the repolymerization with a stabilizer under the low temperature and the vacuum condition. So from this slide, you can see that according about the results, the fluorine composition still retained in the recycled PET material extracted from the chemical processes. The recycled PET rising belongs to the type of the copolymers with the fluorine and ester compositions. So it could be used for the application of the electronic connectors and some appliance cover or parts. Then we stepped into some support system to support the coming recycling market and the industry chance. The necessary support system also be proposed, including LC methodology, standards, policy, and roadmap recommendations. For the standard system of the recycling of the end-of-life PV modules, it includes 5 parts: foundation management standard, component classification standard, and end-of-life PV collection technical standard, and a component treatment recycling standard. And last one is a component reuse and remanufacturing standard. So it's total of 5 parts in China. And we found some most priority standards, such as the guideline for the scrapping of the PV module and the recycling general technology standards. It's the most priority, so it already be completed before the end of this year. Next, let's see some green manufacture system supported by the Ministry of the Industry and Information Technology, and include 4 parts. It's a green park, green supply chains, and the green factory, and the green design products. So from data, we can see in China's green industry systems, about the PV, we can find we only have the 15 green supply chain company, and 47 about the green factory, and the 4 green design products, including the polysilicon, silicon wafer, cell, and module. And now we're still working about the standard of the green manufacturer inverter, backsheet, and support. So next years we can look forward to see the more component manual, more green products standards will be published. And the green manufacture system is a emphasis, and the central government pay more attention about that. So recently, the ministry have published the 4th 5-year plan about the China industry. So we can very clear find that promote the green industry upgrading, promote green product design, and build the green manufacture system, building green supply chain, strengthen recycling of the renewable energy resources. And here I will show the case studies at the leading company in the industry, LONGi in China. And this year, at the beginning of this year, LONGi joined the EcoPV, launched the green supply chain carbon reduction announcement. And also LONGi organized from his supply chain, so total 150 supplier, and the whole industry to promote the PV supply chain from light green to dark green. Next, I will give you news. Now we are prepare to establish the China PV Recycling Industry Development Cooperation Center. And with the state, we got the support, very strong support from State Power Investment Company, because this is not only in China, but also in the world, the biggest system integrator and owner. So this company have the very strong requirements and willing to do more contribution about the future recycling work. And now we also have the more than 30 companies and the university institute participant. And also here we are very welcome about the international partnership join us. About the center, Recycle Center, China Recycle Center. So we, what are we all going to do? We will focus in the national and our live PV survey. I think it's the middle term and the long term from such as 2030 to 2050. So we will got very clear data about in China from 2030, 2040, 2050. So how many end of life PV and how much about the market? Because at the beginning, I'm not sure if you remember the number. We just got some data from the IEA number. And the number, I think, is not very new. I think it's a 4 to 5 years ago. So we hope, based on the China Recycle Center, we can do the new survey to get the very clear data about the future potential market. And second, we will do some recycling roadmap, and every year we will to publish the annual white book. And also the recycling standard framework is very important and a high priority for the center. And next, in China industry market, some potential PV recycler have the very very strong willing to participate in the recycling work. So the accreditation and the certification also is a priority work. Then we hope, based on the China Recycling Center, we will establish the national end-of-life PV GIS system and the recycling to do some GIS system. And also we can hope we can, based on the center, we can organize the annual PV recycling exhibition and a conference. And from the work about the PV recycling research and the demonstration, we found also it's very interesting and important things to push the eco-design and design for recycling module. And also, we hope we can have the very nice international cooperation. So we can see the China PV Recycling Industry Development Cooperation Center prepare work in this summer. And before the end of this year, we will make the announcement and beginning the official work from the beginning of the next year. So the last one, I want to make the conclusion. China is the biggest manufacturing market country. And also we pay our attention and emphasis on end of life and recycling technical and facility R&D in past 10 years. So that means we have already do a lot of preparation work. China will be the biggest PV recycling market country too. The number 2 is the 10 megawatts per year mechanism and the 12 megawatts per year thermochemical diamond recycling line shows China PV recycling industry begins. And the third one is a PV recycling will be the last point to full the green supply chain. And the fourth is a PV recycling promotes the future eco-design and the design for recycling module manufacture. So it's a trade. And the last one, China PV Recycling Industry Development Cooperation Center will be the windows for domestic and international cooperation. So, okay, that's all. And thank you for your patience and look forward to cooperation in the future. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you very much, Lyu Fang. That was very interesting, and we look forward to being able to participate in the recycling center that China is setting up. It sounds very exciting and very ambitious, and it aligns with some of the work we've been trying to do in Australia. So I'm sure there's a lot of interest.